Hi there, Malcolm here with my 173rd BookTube video, and today I'll be bringing you my mid-year freak-out tag for 2023. Didn't manage it last year, so ended up with the end-of-year tag, but slightly more organised this time, so let's get cracking. So I can tell you, as at the 1st of July 2023, I have managed to finish 59 books, so a sizable number of titles to answer 15 questions for. Question 1. Best book so far? That would have to be The Kaiju Preservation Society by John Scalzi. Read quite near the beginning of the year, absolutely loved it. A guy signs on to look after some large animals, not knowing just quite how gargantuanly large these animals are. Cue lots of screaming and running away. Brilliant stuff. Question 2 is, what is the best sequel you've read so far this year? That would easily be Men-at-Arms by Terry Pratchett, the direct sequel to Guards Guards. This is from the Discworld series. Absolutely epic book, but as a reread this is a bit of a cheat because I knew this was going to be brilliant. So I shall say, as a new read, Antimatter Blues by Edward Ashton, and this is a sequel to Mickey 7. I didn't find it as good as the original book, but out of the other sequels I've read so far this year, this was one of the better ones. Question 3 is a new release you haven't read yet but want to. I wave this at you for the 2022 end of year freakout, and that is Wayward by Chuck Wendig. This is book 2 of the Wanderers series. It's still sitting on the shelf, unread. I do desperately want to read this. There's a global pandemic that has wiped out pretty much everybody, and a small group of people who survived up in the mountains but are under the dubious protection of an AI. My biggest disappointment this year was Frankenstein, high contender to being the worst book of 2023 for me. Do check out the link in the description box for my reviews for some of these books. Frankenstein is down there. Go check it out and find out exactly what it was about this book that I hated. Question 6 is my biggest surprise of the year so far, and that is, of course, The Kaiju Preservation Society. I started this with no preconceptions. Obviously, I quite like the title. I had spotted this bookshop previously. I thought that looks quite fun, but I hadn't anticipated just how brilliant it was. And both my boys have read it as well. They are now, 15 and 13, and they both loved it as well. And of course now my wife is really itching to read it. She's now feeling like she's missing out. My newest favourite author. Surprise, surprise, John Scalzi. Why not? And actually I haven't read many authors this year that I haven't previously read, so he's a strong qualifier. Question 8. My newest fictional crush. I don't believe I got one this year. Not yet anyway, so I have to skip that one, I'm afraid. Question 9. My newest favourite character. Now, this was really hard. Although I like the characters in Kaiju, I wouldn't say I was particularly fond of them. I like them, but I wouldn't have said they were my favourite characters at all. And although a little one-dimensional, Cobalt Blue was pretty kick-ass. This is Cobalt Blue by Matthew Riley. Interested to see more from her, and maybe even with a bit of character development, she may even develop into a crush. Too early to say yet, but certainly an interesting character. Question 10 is the book that made me cry. Now normally I can go, fine, books don't affect me like that. Quantum Leap, Angels Unaware by Elizabeth L. Storm. Pretty run-of-the-mill Quantum Leap adventure, absolutely fine until the end, and that completely took me unawares, as it were. Yeah, a few tears came to the eyes of that one. Blimey. Book that made me happy? Well, obviously, Men-at-Arms and anything by Discworld, or anything by Terry Pratchett. I've read 3 Terry Pratchett books so far this year. They all made me happy, but that's a bit of a cheat. So I shall say Stringers by Chris Panatia, another potentially favourite new author. This was a weird, hilarious, strange book I really enjoyed, and made me happy reading it. I've never seen a jar of pickles go on in the adventure in the way that this one does. Question 12, the best book to film adaptation. That's a really hard one. I don't believe I've actually seen any films that are adapted from books. I'm rewatching all the Marvel films on Disney Plus at the moment, and they're technically adapted from comics. But whether they're good adaptations or not, I don't know, because I've not read the originals. I'm going to have to skip that one. I don't think I can answer that one, honestly. So question 13, the most beautiful book given to me. And that would be Perilous Times by Thomas D. Lee. My wife very thoughtfully got this one. Quite a striking cover. Question 14 is my best review or video I've done so far this year. Well, so I just quickly jumped onto YouTube, done the stats, and I can tell you that my most successful video so far is Bullet Train, with 697 views this year alone. However, it was a video I did make previously because of the film that came out. Go and see it, it's brilliant and hilarious. My most successful video made this year is my top 10 videos of 2022 with 47. So not exactly looking at the high echelons of numbers there. And then finally, book I need to read by the end of the year. Well, that's all of them. My target is 130. And according to Storygraph, I'm about 8 books behind, so I really need to step up my reading to achieve that. In terms of books I really want to try and get read though, amongst those, I want to do Firefly, What Makes Us Mighty by M.K. England, the 2 Stranger Times sequels, hang on, I'm going to get them, being The Charming Man and Love Will Tear Us Apart by C.K. McDonnell. I think I read the first one last year, really enjoyed that. Sort of, if the X-Files had a newspaper column, this would be the agency that would run that column, as it were. So there we go, there's my mid-year wrap-up for 2023. It's a shame I had to skip over a couple, but that's how it goes sometimes. Feel free to have a go at this yourself. I'll post up the questions below, as well as all the links to previous reviews I have done, to the books I've just waved at you, where applicable. And I hope you all have a great second half of the year reading. So stay safe, have a great holiday, and see you later.